special hello to the people of Melbourne, well, all of Victoria, in fact, which for some inexplicable reason is facing a second night of a 5-day lockdown. This is Dan Andrews' third in 12 months. One cluster, 13 cases as of Friday, and a small list of venues at risk has him shutting the joint down. No wonder a record number of Victorians are packing up and moving interstate. As we'll discuss tonight, how do people run their lives? How do businesses plan and survive when a single cluster causes instant shutdowns? Meanwhile, New South Wales, which has shut down just once, has officially eliminated the virus today by racking up 28 consecutive days of no local transmission. The irony is glaring. I'll be speaking with microbiologist Professor Peter Collignon about all this kind of knee-jerk leadership and the continuation of mistakes in both hotel quarantine and contact tracing, which have emerged over the weekend. Also tonight, Miranda Devine on the impeachment trial that went Donald Trump's way again, and President Joe Biden's rather dysfunctional honeymoon in office. We'll hear from three of the best: Senator Jim Molan, Graham Richardson and also Prue McSween on the panel, plus another friend on a Sunday night, the wine-making legend Bruce Tyrrell, on the way back for the Australian wine industry. So, you've got the chairman, Daniel Andrews. He's done it again, locked down Victoria for the third time in less than a year. Now, before anyone gets sucked in by the daily eyeball-to-eyeball spin doctor and all that fake sincerity about how evil and how contagious this virus has become and how brilliant Victoria's hotel quarantine system is, gold standard, he said last week, let's look at the facts very calmly. Victoria has not learnt too much from the way they bungled hotel quarantine last year, which led, of course, to 800 deaths and 111 days in lockdown. It is not the gold standard. In fact, as we learnt today, far from it. Firstly, where are the CCTV cameras on every floor accommodating returning travellers at the Holiday Inn at Tullamarine? Non-existent. And yet we have other states using this as a great way of determining origin. Someone must have forgotten that in Victoria. Secondly, what dope allowed a couple to take in and then use a nebuliser in their room, which they say caused this current outbreak? Now, the man in possession of the nebuliser told The Age yesterday that he declared he had not once, but on 2 occasions, 2 health officials. Officials, he said, told him no problem. And then once they were infected and taken to the health hotel, he declared it again. And he even says officials offered to source the Ventolin for him to be used in the nebuliser. Now, this contradicted what Chairman Dan told us on Friday, that this couple did not reveal they had a nebuliser in their possession. Now, that's either a bald-faced lie or he was told this by health officials trying to cover his or her sorry backside. You can't even take a nebuliser into a hospital as a patient. And so when the other side of the story was revealed yesterday, the Premier, well, he just palmed this away, this crucial point, claiming, well, it was a question for the COVID Quarantine Commissioner, Emma Cassar.
But as to the specifics of what did or didn't occur, CQV are the people to answer for that, and they will, because the head of CQV will be out to answer any of your questions.
Are you planning on apologising to this person?
The answer to your question is no. You should speak to the head of CQV about those matters.
I'm sorry, but what a cop-out. It is clearly the use of a nebuliser which created the outbreak, but no longer does he want to take responsibility. Someone else will answer that at a later press conference. Well, Emma Cassar did emerge late yesterday and said there's no evidence of what the returned travellers said.
I can categorically say that there is no evidence from our audits that he has raised this with our health team or our operational team.
He claims he was given permission to use it.
Well, again, that's not our recollection, and that's not our, from what we've heard, and the stories that, the information that we had from our health providers, there is no evidence for that.
Well, you can make up your mind about who you believe, but even Emma Cassar later admitted in that press conference that health officials could have explained what was not allowed inside the hotel better. Why aren't they given clear, even written instructions about this can't come in, this can't come in, These are the rules. What a totally incompetent bunch, unable to enforce their own rules, unable to answer basic questions. It is the same ducking and weaving the Premier relied on most of last year when he didn't remember who gave the green light to security guards running hotel quarantine. It's the same thing. You'll go and talk to the Commissioner over there. I'll have the Minister later on answer that. I don't know. But today, the Sunday Herald Sun published a litany of recent mistakes involving contact tracing. This is contact tracing Mark II. That same ICU patient with the nebuliser who was identified as positive more than 9 days ago and hospitalised was then contacted 9 days later to be told he was positive. Yeah, he knew that. And where had he been? Yeah, they'd been down that track. Is there not one computer list that every contact tracer refers to? Obviously not. Because we also hear that hundreds of domestic airline passengers who didn't go anywhere near the cafe, which had been declared a viral hotspot, were still sent text messages telling them to isolate immediately. What? Now, maybe it's Daniel Andrews' lack of faith in his quarantine and tracing that has led to this knee-jerk lockdown. Maybe that's what it's all about. They'd recorded just 13 cases from the Holiday Inn by Friday, and it pressed the alarm bell. Would New South Wales have done this? Of course not. Think Barella, Sydney Southwest, 30 cases, 75 venues, no metro lockdown, and definitely not a state shutdown. How do people in rural Victoria feel right now? Swan Hill, Shepparton, Bendigo, Ballarat, East Gippsland. Why would you not simply deal with any infection quickly and efficiently locally? Surround the wagon and isolate people. And good luck if you run a business under those hysterical rules. So much for making a living out of interstate tennis fans, they've gone home. Or Chinese New Year celebrations, they've also gone home. Or today's massive Valentine's Day trade, $1 billion lost in 5 days. And look what's happened. From the 20,000 test on Friday, 1 case. From the 20,000 tests yesterday, 2 cases. A point made by reporter Nick McCallum to the Chief Health Officer, Brett Sutton.
This strain is very, very virulent. It's meant to rip through the community. But so far, there's no evidence of that, is there? We've had 1 community transmission today, and it's been basically out there almost a week. So are you surprised there's not more cases?
No, I'm not. I think the way that we've chased down cases and their close contacts and their secondary close contacts is part of that containment strategy. It's certainly shown itself to be infectious. The way that it's transmitted to household members at a high rate and in a rapid period of time is a sign of its infectiousness. But we've chased down each and every case immediately, and I think that's the difference.
That's the difference. He didn't say because of the lockdown, he said because of speedy contact tracing. You don't need to shut down the state or even the city for 5 days. And as for the Premier's beat-up of how infectious this new UK strain is, let's talk about the facts. I can see why he loves scaring people, though, because it reduces blame. You know, the evil strain being uncontainable. Listen to this hype from Friday.
We have got to face the fact, all of us, that we're not, from a quarantine point of view, we're not dealing with the virus we were dealing with last year. We're dealing with a very different strain. It moves faster. It's transmitted more easily.
Well, I'm sorry, he's wrong again. He's either lying again or he refuses to look at the latest reports. The Australian newspaper sought data from the UK executive agency Public Health England and concluded over the weekend that the strain is not 70%, which he has said on previous occasions, or even 50% infectious. Quote, a person infected with the UK strain will pass the virus on to 14.7% of their close contacts. Somebody with the original Wuhan virus is likely to pass the virus on to 11% of their close contacts. If you do the maths, the data shows that the UK strain is therefore 34% more infectious. 34, not 70. Fess up and stop faking the figures to try and make it sound like as if reckless mistakes are okay and make Victorians fearful. Look what happened in Brisbane. It led to just 5 other infections, the same strain. In Perth, no others. Dan Andrews couldn't lie straight in bed and couldn't run a chook raffle at the local footy club. And Victoria, and for that matter the rest of Australia, deserve better.